the crime wave that was the natural result of defunding the police in so many cities, electing and putting in place these soft on crime prosecutors, changing our laws to require no bail, and so on and so forth. And it happened fast. You can see before your very eyes within, a year of some of those things happening, the crime rates go up double digits in city after city after city. And I mean, perhaps no one's gotten it worse than San Francisco for a combination of reasons. So their mayor, London Breed, I'm going to play a soundbite, but man, listening to her soundbite, Allie Beth, you would think that she was like a Trump law and order person, right? She has got the solution to the problem she caused. We'll get to her background in a second, but listen to how ticked off she is now about the crime in San Francisco.
And it's time that the reign of criminals who are destroying our city, it is time for it to come to an end. And it comes to an end when we take the steps to be more aggressive with law enforcement, more aggressive with the changes in our policies, and less tolerant of all the bullshit that has destroyed our city.
She's tough. She sounds really tough, and yet there's a backstory. Your thoughts on it?
I'm glad to hear her say this. I'm sure a lot of people in San Francisco are also glad to hear her say this. But of course, the policies that she has reported or has supported and that Chesa Boudin have supported, and all of the progressives, the local elected officials, have supported over the past several years have, of course, led to this, enabled this, encouraged this, exacerbated what was a pre-existing problem in San Francisco. So I'm glad to see this pivot. I hope it translates into real policy change. But I also, when I heard this for the first time yesterday, I think I was watching some news show, my response was, really? Right. After all of this time, this is what you're saying, acting like this has been your consistent position when obviously it hasn't. So it's hypocritical, but I am hopeful that maybe it'll translate into some kind of positive change.
Right. And hopefully not just there. She went on to say as follows. This is a city that has a population of less than 1 million people with an over $12 billion budget. The residents of this city have been extremely generous in providing us with the resources we need to make a difference. And now the priorities we need to make must be to protect them, must be to turn things around in their neighborhoods. Well, duh, right? It's like at some point, the people who are getting robbed, held up, burgled, shot, murdered, their kids witnessed things like this on the way to school are going to rise up even in the most liberal, progressive city in America where, I'll give you a couple of stats. Homicides are up 17% in 2021. By the way, same percentage in LA, Oakland, and San Diego. Great job, California. Car break-ins are up in San Fran, 21%. Vehicle thefts up 10%. In 2019, 40% of shoplifting incidents led to an arrest. In 2021, it's only 19%. I mean, shoplift away if you're in San Fran. You're good. You just take what you want. Truly, they're not going to come after you. The San Francisco DA, who you just mentioned, Chesa Boudin, is a problem. This guy is a problem. He charged 46% of the arrests that came to him for theft. That's a 16-point decline since he took office in 2020. He charged just 35% of petty theft arrests. That's a 23% decline from 2019. And basically what led London Breed, the mayor, to come out there is more than 200 people in the mostly poor or working class Tenderloin neighborhood of San Fran came to her upset that there had been a 161% increase in the violence of their neighborhood between last year and this, including a brutal attack on an 11-year-old girl. So where do they go? Where do the parents of that girl go for their justification, for their retribution?
Right. Human beings don't do chaos well. We don't like anarchy. As much as progressives like to say that they envision this utopia, which of course means no place in which criminals no longer commit crimes because there are no longer punishments for crime. Of course, that's part of this crazy progressive dogma that if they no longer enforce the law, then people will just somehow get along and be happy and rehabilitate naturally and all of this crazy pie in the sky stuff. Okay, that sounds good. It sounds maybe like a place where people would want to live that would end up in some kind of peaceful harmony, but it just doesn't work like that. Progressives continually get human nature wrong. One part of human nature is that we do not tolerate chaos. We don't tolerate violence. Even the most progressive among us, once they see the consequences, the violent consequences, the destruction that always comes from social justice, they end up pivoting. Social justice kills. This is the latest example of that. Hopefully, people will realize that these pie in the sky policies just aren't going to work. I'll hold my breath. I'm not so sure about that, but we'll see. And I am a little optimistic after hearing London Breed.
That is the most succinct synopsis of the social justice problems that I've heard. Social justice kills. It does. Yep. You're 100% right. We're seeing it. And you know who it kills more than anybody else? Black and brown people in the inner city.
It does. And, Thomas Sowell, he wrote this great book called Quest for Cosmic Justice, where he talks about these people who are basically social engineers, that they create all of these social solutions to what they call problems that they're never actually affected by. And the problem with social or cosmic justice is that the people who create these so-called solutions, like defunding the police or something like that, or getting rid of single-family housing zones, all in the name of equity, they never think of the other side of the equation. So opening the border or getting rid of single-family housing zones or defunding the police or taking away guns, they might think that theoretically it would work for one side of the equation. They never think about the consequences on the other side of the equation. The consequence that we're seeing on the other side of the social justice equation of defunding the police or refusing to prosecute crimes is dead people. So people get really mad when I say that social justice kills, especially in the Christian community, because social justice sounds really good, but the reality is that it's always detrimental.